Dylon International Limited, we've been producing fabric dyes since 1946. We're committed to supplying quality products that will give the consumer complete satisfaction. We produce a range of fabric dyes for home use that are easy to use and give great results. Dyeing is a good way of injecting colour into fabric, whether it's for rejuvenation or colour change, for clothing or interiors. You can see just how effective dyes can be. Faded jeans, boring curtains, duvet covers, cushions and bathrobes are transformed with Dylon machine dye. You can change the look of a stretchy top with multi-purpose dye, or add colour to a plain jumper with hand dye. Dull wooden shelves can be coloured with cold water dye. This video aims to take you through the main Dylon dye products and give you a better understanding of them and how they work, allowing you to discuss the benefits of dyeing confidently with your customers. Dyeing is easy, and very good results can be achieved if you follow the correct procedures. The following tips will help you on your road to success. Final colour depends on the type of fabric you are dyeing. Always check that the dye you choose is suitable for your chosen fabric. Generally, all of our dyes will dye cotton, linen, viscose and polyester cotton, but some will dye wool, silk or nylon. 100% synthetics such as polyester and acrylic will not dye. Some articles may contain polyester stitching, which will not dye. Check the back of the pack or the Colour with Confidence leaflet for more information on fabric types. The weight of the fabric when dry. Always weigh the article to be dyed. Dyeing smaller or larger amounts of fabric than recommended per pack will give stronger or lighter shades respectively. This is shown, for example, on the side of the machine dye pack. The original colour of the fabric. Remember that the colour mixing rules apply when dyeing. For example, blue dye on yellow fabric will give green. The colour on the pack indicates the colour you will achieve on white cotton. If you have a coloured item, fabric colour stripper can be used to return fabric to a neutral shade, which may not necessarily be white, ready for dyeing. Always check the garment label for the fabric type and special care instructions. Special finishes such as dry clean only, flame retardant or waterproof will not dye, as the finish prevents the dye from being absorbed. Always wash items before dyeing, even if new, to remove any hidden dressings or stains. Dyeing may not cover up stains, faded areas or bleach marks. Patterns will not be covered up by dyeing. Check how much salt is required for the dyeing process. Different dyes require different amounts. Always wear rubber gloves. Machine dye has been specially developed to achieve permanent results in front-loading washing machines. It is safe and easy to use and won't damage your washing machine or affect subsequent washes. It's perfect to rejuvenate or change the colour of items such as jeans, shirts, towels, bed linen and curtains. The full shade on the pack is obtained on cotton, linen and viscose. Lighter results will be achieved on mixtures of these fabrics with synthetics such as polyester, acrylic and nylon, because pure synthetics do not pick up dye. Do not dye 100% synthetics such as polyester, acrylic and nylon. One pack will dye up to 500 grams or 1 pound of dry weight white cotton fabric to the shade shown on the pack. This is the equivalent to a pair of jeans or a bath towel. Dyeing larger amounts, up to 1,250 grams per pack, will give a lighter colour. Several packs can be used for larger amounts of fabric. For example, 2 packs will be required for a duvet cover or curtains. Use only 500 grams or 1 pound of salt, regardless of the number of machine dye packs used. Do not treat more than half the machine's maximum load. The fabric needs room to move to ensure an even dye result. Do not use economy or half load programs. Do not use in top-loading machines with a central agitator or in laundrette machines. How to use machine dye. All you need is an automatic washing machine, some scales, a pair of rubber gloves and 500 grams or 1 pound of salt. Wash fabric thoroughly and leave damp. Wearing rubber gloves, empty dye into the drum. Add 500 grams or 1 pound of salt, covering the area where the dye was added. Put in damp, unfolded fabric. Run a 60°C colour-fast cotton cycle without pre-wash. When the programme has finished, add washing powder and run the hottest programme for the fabric, 95°C if possible. If this is less than 95°C, remove the fabric when cycle is complete and run a 95°C programme with detergent to ensure all the dye is removed from the machine. Dry away from direct heat and sunlight. If the final wash was below 95°C, wash separately for the first couple of washes to remove any excess dye. It really is as easy as washing your clothes. Dylon hand dye is used by hand with hot tap water and gives permanent colour. It's easy to use and is perfect for items that are just too delicate or small to throw in the washing machine. Suitable for dyeing cotton, linen and viscose to full shade. It gives lighter results on mixtures of these fabrics with synthetics such as polyester, acrylic and nylon. It also gives lighter results on wool and silk. 1 pack will dye up to 250 grams or 8 ounces of dry weight fabric, about the weight of a cotton shirt. 250 grams or 8 ounces of salt per pack is required. How to use hand dye. All you need is some scales, 250 grams or 8 ounces of salt, a flat-bottomed bowl, a pair of rubber gloves, a measuring jug and a plastic spoon. Wash fabric thoroughly and leave damp. Wearing rubber gloves, dissolve dye in 1 litre or 2 pints of warm water. Put 6 litres or 12 pints of hottest tap water into a flat-bottom bowl. Add 250 grams or 8 ounces of salt, stir well and add dye solution. Put in damp, unfolded fabric and keep submerged for 1 hour. Agitate continually for the first 15 minutes, then occasionally for the remaining 45 minutes. Rinse in cold water until it runs clear, then wash separately in hot water using your normal detergent. For wool and silk, rinse and wash in lukewarm water. Dry away from direct heat and sunlight. Wash separately for the first couple of washes to remove the excess dye. Dylon multipurpose dye is used by hand in simmering water. It is our only dye that will dye nylon and lycra, so it's perfect for dyeing small items such as underwear and stretchy tops. Multipurpose dye is suitable for use on cotton, linen, viscose, wool, silk, nylon and lycra. It gives lighter results on mixtures of these fabrics with polyester. Do not dye Angora, cashmere or polyester wool. 1 tin will dye up to 250 grams or 8 ounces of dry weight fabric, enough to dye a t-shirt or a pair of leggings. Results are not colour fast, so dyed items should be washed separately. How to use multipurpose dye. All you need is a cooking hob, a large saucepan, some scales, 30 grams or 1 ounce of salt, a measuring jug, a pair of rubber gloves and a plastic spoon. If dyeing wool or silk, please follow the special instructions inside the pack. Wash fabric thoroughly and leave damp. Fill a saucepan with enough hot water to cover the item. Wearing rubber gloves, dissolve dye in 500 ml or 1 pint of boiling water. Add dissolved dye to saucepan together with 30 grams or 1 ounce of salt and stir well. Put in damp, unfolded fabric and bring to simmer. Stir constantly for 20 minutes. Rinse article until the water runs clear. Results are not colour fast, so dyed garments should be turned inside out and washed separately. Dry away from direct heat and sunlight. Dylon cold water dye is used by hand in cold water and is perfect for dyeing and rejuvenating smaller items. Cold water dye is also ideal for craft projects such as tie-dye, dip dye and batik, and it can even be used on wood. Cold water dye is suitable for dyeing cotton, linen and viscose, with lighter shades on wool and silk. Lighter shades will also result on mixtures of these fabrics with synthetics such as polyester, acrylic and nylon. Do not dye 100% synthetics. 1 tin will dye up to 250 grams or 8 ounces of dry weight fabric, enough for a large t-shirt. 125 grams or 4 ounces of salt and 1 sachet of cold fix is required per tin of dye. If using more than 1 tin of dye, then increase the quantity of salt, fix and water in proportion to the number of tins of dye used. When dyeing black, 1 tin will dye up to 125 grams or 4 ounces of dry weight fabric. 2 sachets of fix and 250 grams or 8 ounces of salt are required per tin of dye, and the dyeing time is 3 hours instead of the normal 1. Important: permanent results can only be achieved when used in conjunction with Dylon Cold Fix, except when dyeing wool, when you should use 375 ml or 13 fluid ounces of vinegar instead of fix and salt, and dye with the hottest tap water. How to use cold water dye. All you need is some scales, a large bowl, a measuring jug, a pair of rubber gloves, a plastic spoon, 125 grams or 4 ounces of salt and a sachet of cold fix. Wash fabric thoroughly and leave damp. Fill a bowl with enough cold water to cover the item. Wearing rubber gloves, dissolve the dye in 500 ml or 1 pint of hottest tap water and add this to the bowl. Dissolve 125 grams or 4 ounces of salt and 1 sachet of cold dye fix in hottest tap water and then add this to the bowl. Add damp, unfolded item and dye for 1 hour, 3 hours for black. Agitate continuously for the first 10 minutes and then occasionally. Rinse in cold water until it runs clear, then wash as usual. Wash separately for the first couple of washes. How to use cold water dye on wood. All you need is a pair of rubber gloves, a measuring jug, some varnish, a brush and a sponge. Rub down and clean the wooden item thoroughly. Ensure that there's no varnish or other special finish. Wearing rubber gloves, dissolve dye in 500 ml or 1 pint of hot water. Apply the solution evenly on the wood using a sponge, brush or cloth. Always work with the grain of the wood. Allow to dry. To achieve a darker colour, apply further coats, ensuring that each one dries before applying the next. Apply a clear varnish to seal the dyed areas. Fabric colour stripper. If you want to dye a dark fabric to a lighter colour, for example from navy to light blue, or to change fabric from one strong colour to another, for example from red to blue, then fabric colour stripper is the answer. Fabric colour stripper strips the colour from fabric, leaving it a neutral shade ready for dyeing. There are 2 types of fabric colour stripper, one for hand use on small items and one for washing machine use for larger items. Make sure your customer chooses the right one for their needs. Fabric colour stripper will not return fabric to pure white. Some colours such as bright greens and blues, royal blues, turquoises and indigo, that's denim, may not be removed by fabric colour stripper. It's suitable for use on cotton, linen, viscose, nylon and lycra. The hand-use product can also be used on wool and silk. Fabric colour stripper may discolour metal parts, such as zips or buttons. Fabric colour stripper hand use. All you need is a cooking hob, some scales, a large saucepan, a pair of rubber gloves, a measuring jug and a plastic spoon. 1 tin will treat up to 250 grams or 8 ounces of dry weight fabric. If treating wool or silk, please follow the special instructions inside the pack. Soak the article in warm water. Fill a saucepan with very hot water. Dissolve fabric colour stripper in 500 ml or 1 pint of warm water and add to the saucepan. Add the article to the saucepan and immerse completely. Bring to the boil and simmer, stirring constantly. Continue until the colour has been removed or for 30 minutes, whichever is sooner. Rinse well. Wash in hot water with detergent and rinse again. The article is now ready for dyeing. Fabric colour stripper machine use. All you need is an automatic washing machine, some scales, a measuring jug, a plastic spoon and a pair of rubber gloves. Weigh dry article. Put the article to be treated in the washing machine. Set and start the longest, hottest wash programme. After about 15 minutes, dissolve the pack contents in 2 litres of hot water and add to the machine via the soap dispenser. When the cycle is complete, add your usual washing detergent and run the recommended cycle for the article. The articles are now ready for dyeing. Key things to remember when advising customers are: some fabrics are suitable for dyeing, others are not. Generally speaking, cotton, linen, viscose, silk, nylon and polycotton can be dyed with at least one of the 4 Dylon dyes. Other pure synthetics such as acrylic and polyester cannot be dyed. Check garment labels for fabric type and special care instructions. Fabrics with special instructions such as dry clean only or waterproof cannot be dyed. The final colour depends on the weight of the fabric when dry, the type of fabric you're dyeing and the original colour of the fabric. Fabric colour stripper can be used to remove the original colour from the fabric, making it suitable for re-dyeing to a different colour. Dyeing may not cover up stains, faded areas or bleach marks. Make sure your customer reads the instructions fully before starting, using the right amount of salt as well as cold fix or vinegar if necessary. The Colour with Confidence leaflet will provide good backup to answer most consumer questions. But don't forget that Dylon provide a consumer advice service. So if you or your customers have any further questions on dyeing, then a simple call on 0208 663 4296 is all you need. Also, don't forget to refer customers to the Dylon website, www.dylon.co.uk. Here you can find all sorts of advice and information on Dylon products, and not just the dyes, but all other Dylon products such as fabric paints and household products. Hopefully, this video has illustrated how easy Dylon dyes are to use. Being knowledgeable in their use will help you to advise your customers correctly and confidently.